Hi, I'm Valerie Engelhart. In this video, I am going to be painting my interpretation of Golden Handcuffs. This piece was inspired by 2013's Inktober prompt Golden, and so what popped in my head was Golden Handcuffs. I'm working on Arches hot press paper. I think this one is 10 by 7. I went through the block though, so I don't remember anymore if it's 10 by 7 or 10 by 8, but it's a smaller block. The color I am using is Winsor & Newton Winsor Red, which is basically, if I remember correctly, phthalo blue red shade. I picked this color for a couple of reasons. One is that I rarely use this color, and I was using these challenge prompts as a way to use colors that I don't normally use to get reacquainted with them, to explore and just have fun. And the other reason I picked blue for this particular piece is the whole Golden Handcuffs idea made me think of like the genie from Aladdin. And in at least the Disney story, he's blue. And so I was like, oh, okay, I can make the hand blue and have golden handcuffs and have this with like multiple inspirational meanings. Now, I am going at this painting without a sketch. The way I help prep my eyes to deal with this is I make my reference image into a black and white image that helps me isolate the values, so my lights and my darks. And since I'm only painting the hand in a single color, that lets me just focus on shapes and shadows. So I'm not so worried about, oh, is this area warm or cold or more yellow or more pink? It's all blue. It's all this one blue. I just have to worry, is this a convincing shape? And is it intense enough? Do I need more paint or do I need it to be more watery? And so if you're learning a subject or doing something new, it is really helpful to maybe do a study where you just do it all in one color. And that way you can really focus on your shapes and your values, and then try it again using whatever colors you want. Now, the thumb there is a little tricky in that there is some foreshortening going on, which means that this image had the thumb kind of tilted toward the viewer. So it makes the thumb look shorter than it normally is, but if you get the lines and the proportions correct, then it's translated well. But it's really important to pay attention to those shapes because a phrase I say to myself a lot is paint what you see, not what you think you see. Like, I know what a thumb looks like, but if I tried to paint that from memory instead of really paying attention to shapes, it probably would not have turned out very well for me. Now, right now in the painting, I'm doing the handcuff portion. Because the handcuff is metal, I am being a little more intense with my value range. I am going in with really thick paint for the shadows and leaving like bands of light because metal, at least for these handcuffs, is quite reflective. Now, these are golden handcuffs, so don't worry, I'm going to come in the end with some gold gouache and make some expressive marks to really bring it together. But for now, I am just working in the blue. And if you look at the hand, a lot of the hand is very soft because it's flesh, and so I wanted to keep it softer. Now, I did talk about how I make the image black and white so I can follow those shapes more easily. The other thing I do is I will digitally put a grid on my reference photo. That way, I can see proportionally where does a certain element fall on my paper. I don't draw the grid on my paper, but it's pretty easy to eyeball. So if you see me where I'm making horizontal and vertical motions with my hand, but I'm not leaving paint on the paper, that's me measuring and visualizing where to put something in space. And at the top of the hand, I know that it gets cut off a bit. When I originally made this video, I was filming everything in Instagram's preferred vertical format, but that doesn't work so well for YouTube, at least not for these kind of videos. So at the very top, I mostly left that area unpainted, but I did paint in a couple of thin lines. I did that to suggest bright light. So have you ever seen something where it's so bright that you almost can't see part of it? So that's the idea there. And then as the hand was turning away from my perceived light source, it suddenly gets very dark. And now I'm just putting in the wrist on the side because I don't want the hand just floating in space. I do want it emerging from the side. Now, if you want to get started on painting without sketching first, but you really need that grid, go ahead and just lightly draw on that grid. A lot of people will actually use that to draw and transfer their image, is drawing a grid and then drawing in all of your shapes from there. It helps if you've got like a small image and you're trying to get it on a really big piece of paper. But I digress. I have pulled out my gouache. This is Holbein Brilliant Gold, I believe it is. It's a discontinued one. I got like one of the last tubes I could on the internet years ago. But because the prompt is golden, I need gold for these handcuffs. And I love the way that gold and blue look together. And I'm using some dry brushing to give me some texture. And I don't want to paint the handcuffs solid gold. I feel like it would lose its impact. So I'm just going in with some bold strokes here and there to suggest these golden handcuffs. And for that, I'm just using a small, flat synthetic brush. I'm picking a synthetic brush because it doesn't hold a lot of water. And here's the finished painting. If you liked this video, press that like button so I know to make more like this. And if you want to see more from me, press subscribe because I make videos every Monday and Thursday. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.